Hello, welcome to today's meditation. Welcome to today's meditation. Today I thought we'd talk about hope, and I'm going to read a poem as part of our meditation today. So I'm just going to start off right at the bat into our meditation. I'll read a poem by Brother Richard Hendrick. He's an Irish priest, and he wrote that. Some of you may have read it. It's been on the internet all over the place, but he wrote it on March 13th, and it's called Lockdown, and it was his response to the coronavirus and some of the things that he's been saying. So anyway, let's start, and then after I read the poem, we'll meditate for about 20 or 25 minutes, and then I'll ring the bell to symbol the end of our meditation. Okay. So I invite you all to find a posture that's comfortable, a posture that's alert, upright but not rigid. Maybe your feet flat on the floor. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, just keep a downward gaze, a few feet in front of you on the floor. And just take a few deep breaths to bring you present. Feel your breath in. Feel your belly rise, and then let it exhale. Now I invite you just to listen to these words of hope, these words of human goodness, these words that demonstrate humanity at our best. Lockdown. Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say after just a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say that the hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivering to the housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number through the neighborhood so that the elders may have someone to call on. Today, churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples are preparing to welcome and shelter the homeless, the sick, and the weary. All over the world, people are slowing down and reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality. How big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there doesn't have to be hate. And yes, there is isolation, but there doesn't have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. Yes, there is even death, but there can always be rebirth of love. Wake to the choices you make as to how you live now. Today, breathe. Listen behind the factory noise of your panic. The birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming, and we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing. May we sit in silence as we allow our soul, in essence, to sing, to touch all of humanity. As we touch this unity and oneness that we're all a part of. As we reflect on the goodness of humanity and the oneness that we're all a part of. Reflect on those beautiful qualities that we see in moments. Maybe the sounds of the birds bring your attention. Just listen to the birds, or if there isn't any sounds, then come back to your breath. Remember, there's nothing special about our breath. Our breath is simply an anchor that we use to ground us to the present moment. So follow your breath as it goes in and out. Or maybe you find it easier to follow your breath where your tummy rises and falls. Whatever works best for you is fine. If you hear the birds singing, or maybe the heater or the air conditioner kicked on, or if you hear a noise that brings your attention, you can bring that noise to the forefront of your attention and just notice it. And when that noise sort of fades back or becomes less interesting, then you can come back to your breath. If it stays predominant, then stay with the noise and let that sound serve as your anchor in that moment. We are living in very trying times right now. And with that comes anxiety, fear, other just difficult emotions. So whatever arises in you, just allow that to be, and feel in your body where you feel the sensation of that emotion. Maybe you feel knots in your tummy. Maybe you feel a tightness in your throat. Maybe you feel a pain in your back or your shoulders, just tightness. Just feel what that emotion does in your body and just pay attention. If the emotions or thoughts fade, then just come back to your breath. If they feel big, if your emotions feel too big, almost scary, you can allow them in a percentage, maybe 20% or maybe 50% of it. Just allow some of that emotion in. Let it trickle in, like barely turning on the faucet in the kitchen. And sit with that. In meditation, we want to allow our emotions. We want to give them expression, but we do it in a really gentle and kind way. So if we feel overwhelmed or like our emotions are scary or too much, then we just pull back. We call that our edge. So we want to walk toward the edge, but we don't want those emotions to be overwhelming. If your mind feels chaotic with thoughts or planning, remember they're just thoughts. We don't have to buy into the story. We don't have to ruminate about the future or the past. The present moment is our refuge. It's the place where we look at our breath and we know that it's okay. Just this breath, just right now. is okay. When you find yourself lost in a thought, that's okay. How cool. That's an act of mindfulness. You come back to your breath. If we do it 1,000 times during meditation, that's 1,000 times to practice mindfulness. There's no such thing as a perfect meditation. That's why we call it practice. We just come back to the breath. Remember, when the news ticker bar of our minds continue to think, continue to ruminate, just put that thought on the leaf and let it float down the river in your mind, out of sight. If it keeps coming back, gently let it float on another leaf. We're not trying to push or pull our experience. We're trying to be curious and be aware of what's happening in our mind. So as our thoughts arise, we realize they're just thoughts. I can let it go. It can float down the river. In life, when we feel a sense of anger or an upregulated emotion, the neurotransmitters that fire in our brain send chemicals to our brain that tells us we're angry and we react. Those chemicals last in our mind for 90 seconds. If the anger lives on past 90 seconds, it's because of our thoughts. So mindfulness is just an exercise in awareness so that we can be present and aware of what's unfolding as it unfolds without judging our experience, without being right or wrong. It's simply an observation. And as we cultivate this practice, we develop a pause, and we're able to see more clearly when we do feel anger or an upregulated emotion. And in that pause, we have space to choose a more effective response if we decide. So that's what meditation builds. That's resilience. We bounce back more quickly from a challenging situation. As thoughts arise, just come back to your breath. If it's easier, you may say in, out as you breathe, if that helps you stay present. There's no prescription. It's what works for you. Just come back to the breath. I'm going to ring the bell in just a few minutes. But in our final few moments, I'd like us just to send our intention of unity and healing and well-being to the world. So maybe hold the image of the world, all beings everywhere, and wrap that world of beings, of humanity, in your kind embrace, in your kind intention. Maybe you imagine putting a blanket around the world. as we hold this kind intention, repeat in your mind these phrases. May all beings be safe. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all of humanity live with ease. May all of humanity live with ease. And now let that image of your world, all of humanity, wrapped in your kind and attention, let it just dissolve. And now let's just hold that intention in our heart for just another 30 seconds, and then I'll ring the bell. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Be well, be healthy. See you tomorrow. Take care. And I'd love to hear comments and suggestions. If you are up for it, email me or put it in the comments. Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.